Well, JR, Cecil and Ryan Dodson from Liberty Tax Prep are joining us to answer your questions about this tax season. All right, this text question is, I got a 1098-T for my son's tuition for payment for the 2021 January semester that was actually paid in December of 2020. Where do I need to report this?
So that 1098-T is going to be filed on Form 8863, which is where we claim our education credits. And even though it was for tuition in 2021, we are considered, individuals are considered cash basis taxpayers. So that means you are going to claim it on your 2020 tax return.
Okay, and again, you have that 1098-T, which means that when you're doing your taxes, it should, prompt you, do you have a 1098-T? And that's where you fill in all that information. Okay. So this person says, my son filed taxes in July 2020 for 2019. He did not receive a $1,200 stimulus check. Where can he claim that on this year's form? We talked about that, yes?
Yes, recovery rebate credit.
All right, sorry. I got a lot of text here. This one is a PPP loan considered income, and are the expenses paid from the loan tax deductible? JR?
So on the federal tax return, correct, you can deduct all those expenses that were paid with the PPP proceeds. North Carolina did not conform to that, so they want you to add back in any forgiveness that you got with the PPP. So you'll do your tax return just as typical, all your revenue, all your expenses, but on the North Carolina, you have to add back in any forgiveness on the PPP.
All right, let's talk about adding things back in on the state tax return versus your federal tax return, because Ryan, unemployment benefits are the same way.
Yes, that is correct. So for unemployment, you get a $10,200 is not considered taxable income on your federal return. However, in North Carolina, you do have to add that back.
All right, and so if you already paid, let's say there's people who are watching right now and they're like, oh, I paid my taxes and all that kind of stuff, but they didn't do it at the time when the American Rescue Plan was in effect, and they are now owed money back from the IRS because they overpaid for unemployment income. What happens with that?
We just got to wait. The IRS has advised us not to do amendments, that they will be making those adjustments. Payments were anticipated to start and be mailed out in May. So we're advising all of our clients, just wait on the IRS to send you a check. When that check finally arrives, bring it in. We'll make sure that you got the right amount. If that's not the right amount, then we'll do an amendment. But the IRS does not want to be bombarded right now with additional amendments.
Yeah, so don't do an amended return. Wait for that check. All right, Ryan, this person says, I filed my mother's taxes. She passed away from COVID-19. I received her state payment, but not her federal payment. What do I need to do next?
Unfortunately, this is just going to be another case of just sitting back and waiting. The state clearly is moving at a faster pace than the federal government is. However, it's going to be paper. The check is going to get mailed, and it's just going to take more time.
All right, speaking of more time, this person says, I filed my taxes on 2/17. Every time I check the IRS website, all it says is, we have received your tax return. It's still being processed. What is the holdup for people who filed 90 days ago?
So there could be a few things holding it up. If you claim that recovery rebate credit, the IRS has given guidance that it could be 10 plus weeks in order for that tax return to be processed, because they want to make for sure that recovery rebate credit is accurate. The unemployment, if you use prior year earned income to calculate some of your credits, your refundable credits, earned income credit, child tax credit, that can also slow it down. If you haven't filed in a couple years, you might have gotten a letter that requires you to verify your identity. So you might have to take some action. So watch your mailbox for any letters that you might receive. Otherwise, it might just be a waiting game.
All right, this person says, should I have received a 1095-A form to confirm that I had health insurance for filing taxes? I was e-filing my 2020 taxes and it asks for one.
Go ahead, Ron.
With a 1095-A, if they had insurance from the marketplace, which means that their insurance, their health insurance was federally subsidized, and then they're going to have to complete a couple extra forms to reconcile whether or not they received enough or whether they're due a little bit more of a subsidy. And so, yes, it is a required form that you'll fill out on your tax return for the premium tax credit. And, the good news is that the last set of stimulus that was passed, if anybody owes, or in other words, they didn't have enough taken out, or they owed back, then it's effectively forgiven. That part is effectively forgiven.
That's another tax credit that people are getting. All right, this person is asking, what is the penalty for late filing, JR?
It's gotten more aggressive this year. I think it's up to $395 or your balance due.
Okay.
Could limit that. If you're getting a refund, they don't hit you as hard.
All right, but $395. All right. So if you missed any of these questions and answers, we're going to put it all on the website for you under the 2 Wants to Know section so that you can get your questions answered and file your taxes. Remember, tax day is May the 17th.